Here's the state of the program, according to my opinion, for Baylor men's basketball. First of all, we know Flo Thomas gone. And I think it's a blessing in disguise. Let's just be real about it. He was okay, not the best, and he had some clunker games. And it seemed like this year he regressed from what happened at the end of last year. It seemed like it. Obviously, Jonathan Chama is not exactly himself still, which, to be clear, we didn't anticipate him going to play this year. We really, really didn't. I mean, we thought he was going to be out until next year, and he has an extra year of eligibility, which he will use because he's getting his master's degree. Obviously, Keontae George is gone. He's first round pick, if not lottery. As sad as it's going to be. Adam Flagler has a decision to make to go pro or not go pro. It wouldn't shock me either way, but I have a hunch that he's going to go pro, even though he shouldn't. He wouldn't be an NBA player or drafted. I mean, Dale Bonner does have another year of eligibility due to COVID, too. So I do know that Langston Love should be back, and of course, we'll have to wait and see if there's any other transfers or players transferring out. I know Jordan Turner walked on senior day, and the same thing goes for Zach Loveday. So I just wonder if they're going to transfer out. It wouldn't shock me because both of those guys hardly ever played here at Baylor. Let's be clear. It's not because of them. It's because of the other players around them. In addition, we're going to have Jantron Grimes, who redshirted this year. He's the baby Davion Mitchell. We need somebody a lot. We need to be a better defensive team going into next year. We have to be better defensively, and we need to be more consistent. Because this team, overall, didn't have a bad year. But according to the recent standards of trying to get a Big 12, share a Big 12 title. I mean, we won the Big 12 title, of course, and the national championship year 2021, and last year got a share of it. But we finished in around a 32 last year. I thought we would go a little bit further, but before the season. But the problem is, the defense was just subpar this year. It was not good enough. It really, really wasn't. For whatever reason, the Caleb Lunar didn't work. Experiment didn't work some. Joan Bridges worked once he got going after that West Virginia game, which I think he's going to come back for another year. We'll have to wait and see if LJ Cryer comes back too. I think he's going to be back, but you never know these days with NIL and transfer portal. And overall for Baylor this year, 23-11 and 11-7 in conference. Not even close to second place in the conference. And it just seems like this team also lacked length. I like the guard position. And I know Davion Mitchell, Dantron Grimes is going to make a difference. I can assure you of that. I would think so. Dale Bonner could come back too. But I'm going to go over some recruits that are definitely going to enroll. And that's for sure two of them because Yves Missy, he could reclassify. So we have to wait and see. But I have a hunch we're going to know something probably between now on the next signing day for basketball. We're going to know for sure by then. But we're definitely going to get Miro Little, which will help a lot. He's an upgrade on defense compared to Keontae George. Yes, Keontae George is good, but his defense. But I think part of the problem this year, too, is sickness. Injuries have hurt this team. Let's be clear about that. And we know Langston Love, at the very end, had that eye thing. It just did not help the team at all because he would be playing more if it wasn't for that eye thing. It's just an unfortunate way it ended for him. especially after he missed all last year with the torn ACL in the preseason. And the other guy that's going to come in that is going to help this team, in my opinion, is Jacoby Walter. And he's already projected to be a first-round pick. He's an upgrade on defense, too. I mean, he's like he should be the starter. He's like 6'5", 185 pounds according to ESPN, but he's going to make a difference. It just seems like we do need a little bit more length. And I think LJ next year could be the point guard if needed. And obviously, I think Jonathan Chamachachua is going to come back. We already know he's going to come back because of his master's degree. And I expect Jacoby Walter to be a starter next year. Mira Little, he could be a backup, or Daintron Grimes is going. One of those guys is going to be a backup. I think Langston Love could very well start next year. Now the center position is interesting because, let's be clear, it's an open-ended competition with Jonathan Chamachachua and Josh Uzuwuna. And possibly Yves Missy if he reclassifies. Because we already know that what's his name? Zach Loveday worked on senior day. I have a hunch that he's going to leave. I have that hunch. This team needs a dog mentality guy. I think Caleb Longer is going to be back, but he has to be better than he has been. Last game, he was great. This game, he didn't do anything. But I think part of it, too, is like he's still trying to work himself into the system. Which, thank goodness, he has a COVID year if he needs to. After his true senior year. Same thing. And Jalen Bridges, too. If he's good enough next year, he could be a pro. But that's just besides the point. And according to 247, Jacoby Walter is 6'5", 180 pounds. So it's about approximately right. I mean, that's going to make a difference for the team. And I'll update on the coaching changes if there is any coaching changes in terms of assistants and players leaving and players coming in as transfers. And even like if Yves Missy reclassifies. And I understand this is just a inconsistent team this year. I don't get why we were so bad defensively at times this year when we practically had the same, almost the same amount of guys that were on the team last year. I think part of the problem is smaller guards as starters. And not only that, Flo Thumba took a step backwards. Joan Bridges at times he's been a good defender. And Keontae George, he's been a pleasure to watch, but his defense, oh man, that's atrocious at times. But I know he was dealing with mono at the very end of the season. And while he was dealing with that injury too, that has hurt the team some. And I don't know in terms of record-wise how many points, but he's pretty close to the all-time freshman record list in terms of points in the season. I'm going to double check real fast on how many points did Aaron Bruce score in his freshman year at Baylor. So I apologize on that. It's just disappointing when we had him for this only one this year and we didn't make it further than we did. Though we did make it further than Iowa State. a day later than Michigan State, a day, I mean, further than a lot of teams in this tournament, NCAA tournament. It's just disappointing, considering how much talent we had, and we just didn't play consistent. And we will live or die by the three. That's the deal. This team needs more inside presence. They need more of a dog. And hopefully next year, we're going to make it further than back-to-back round of 32s here. Despite last year we were a 1 seed, but let's be clear, we were banged up. This year we just hurt ourselves in terms of seeding because, you know, because we just lost back-to-back games to Iowa State at the very end. And if we would have won that game, we would have been higher as a seed. Or if we would have won against Iowa State once, for whatever reason, if we would have beat them once, or even beat Kansas at Kansas, or Kansas State at Kansas State, or even a TCU game at home, or same thing goes for Kansas State at home, maybe we would be a higher seed right now. We just didn't do any favors. We got blown out by Marquette, who just got eliminated today in the round of 32 as well. And we got beat by Virginia, too. I mean, we're going to... And Aaron Bruce, by the way, had 509 points in his freshman year. 509. And I'm going to look at Keontae George real fast. He had 7 points in the game. So whatever he had, add 7. He's really, really close to that record. But it shows he could score the ball, but the thing is, you can't, if you don't play defense, it hurts. It really, really does. And no team outside the top 20 in terms of defense, according to Ken Palm, or something like that, has ever won a national title. Let's be clear. We had one of the best offenses in the entire country. We just couldn't figure it out on defense this year. Granted, we did lose Jerome Tang. I think that's part of the reason. We're going to learn from this year, and it's so hopefully we're better off next year, and we'll know. And Keontae this year, this is before this game, mind you, on the stats. He had 499 points. So he was only 3 away from the freshman record. That's insane. But it doesn't matter what one player does. It's about the team. It's about defense. It's about rebounding. We've been having, for whatever reason, we just didn't rebound good enough in this game today. Part of it's the height on Creighton. And now, and at times we've been getting killed on the glass, which part of it's the matchup too. And this was just a tough matchup for us. Anyways, that's my state of the program for Baylor men's basketball, and we're going to address some stuff in the offseason. I have a hunch about that. We're going to have to be a lot better defensively in order to make it further than this next year. And I do believe next year's team is going to be better. I would hope so. Anyways, if you like this content, hit like and subscribe. See you guys later. 5 subscribers. We're on the road to it. Let's go.